You're watching TVC Breakfast. It's time for us to see the headlines and discuss the issues that are there across Nigerian newspapers this morning. I have with me to make sense of all of this, Tunji Abdulhammed is here. Tunji, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you join me.
Thank you.
Great. And also joining me virtually is Obaniyi Akinwale. Ni, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Mike. Nice seeing you.
Oh, now I'm a doctor now.
Oh, no, right.
Yes,
all right, thank you very much. Thank you. Now let's start with this Nigeria. This Nigeria says, during college tragedy, that's the focus here. 5 students, 3 house masters in police custody. Reps urge IGP to take over investigation, and Sanwo-Olu condoles bereaved family, seeks thorough probe. All right, we have to discuss this as we open discussions. The Nation newspaper is next. Outrage as truck crushes pupils to death in Lagos. Conflicting casualty figures. Protesters burned a truck, vandalized VIO vehicle. Right. It's a tragic event happened yesterday, really troubling. Daily Trust is the next one we're looking at. Right? Bandits stranded, make peace with communities. Order ceasefire, allow harvest. Dry season makes them vulnerable. Many killed in Nigeria Air Force airstrikes in Zamfara, Kaduna. And fresh emissary visits warlord Tunji. Right? That's the Daily Trust talking around the issue of security. From there, let's move to Daily Independent. Daily Independent says 2023 election, that's the focus. Aggrieved APC PDP leaders set to launch new party. All right. Aggrieved APC PDP leaders set to launch new party. That's on the Daily Independent. From there, let's go to the Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says Kano APC crisis. We await Tinubu's next line of action. We await Tinubu's next line of action. Shekarau is saying this. Recall that he paid a visit to the leader of their party recently. Okay, from the Blueprint newspaper, let's go to First News. First News says, Kanu starving in DSS detention. Lawyer cries out. Kanu starving in DSS detention. As his lawyer is crying out here, right? The Punch newspaper is next. Federal government MDAs bar unvaccinated visitors. Lagos to demand jab cards at parties. Federal government MDAs bar unvaccinated visitors. Lagos to demand jab cards at parties. So if you're going to a party, you need to go with your certificates. Leadership newspaper is next and is focusing on Omicron. Governors, lawmakers want UK travel ban reversed. All right, governors, lawmakers want UK travel ban reversed on the issue of Omicron. Daily Times is next. Daily Times is focusing also on the Omicron. National Assembly fumes at the UK travel ban, calls for removal of Nigeria from red list. National Assembly fumes at UK travel ban, calls for removal of Nigeria from the red list. This has been on for some time now, calling on the UK to take Nigeria off. Okay, so we wait to see if that call is going to be heeded. From there, let's go to the national economy. National economy says 1 million doses wasted as Nigeria struggles with short shelf life COVID-19 vaccines. 1 million doses wasted as Nigeria struggles with short shelf life COVID-19 vaccines. All right, that's really troubling, but that's what the national economy has there. Let's now go to News Direct. News Direct says federal government needs over $410 billion investment for energy transition. Vice President Osinbajo is saying this and is talking about around the 2021 LPG week. Says investment plan will solve clean cooking challenges. Okay, federal government needs over $410 $10 billion investment for energy transition. Wow. Okay. From there, let's go to business day. All right, forex speculators selling off hoarded cash, say senior Nigerian bankers. All right, forex speculators selling off hoarded cash. Wow, all this economists say have adverse effects on the economy, hoarding of cash and not putting it in the system. The Guardian newspaper is the last one we're looking at now. Currency risks, delayed counterpart fund insecurity, slow infracos takeoff. Okay, currency risks, delayed counterpart fund insecurity, slow infracos takeoff. That's what the Guardian has in here. Okay, now let's discuss this issue that has been on for some time now. Recall that Sylvester Omoroni has, one of the students who was killed recently in Dowen College, has generated a lot and lots of controversies and comments generally. Who is behind this? The police is still investigating, but on the front page of this Nigeria, it is saying that 5 students, 3 house-masters are in police custody as part of that investigation, and they're finding whatever they're finding. All right, now let's discuss this a little while if we have to move to something else, but let's start from here. Tunji, I wonder what you make of this right now. There were reports at some point that the boy Sylvester was refusing to join, or allegedly refused to join a cult group, at that level, and all of those things happened and he couldn't survive it. Talk to us from the window of having or even hearing of cultism at the level of secondary school.
Well, it is sad anyway, but I'm not surprised anyway. I'm not surprised because even at primary level, we are told we have people, we have court members at the primary level. So it's a sad situation that we found ourselves in the country, and it is mostly parental failure and society failure. That's the reason why we're having that kind of a thing. People now derive, the young guys of these days, they derive joy in a thing that doesn't have any meaning, as far as I'm concerned. They derive important and attach more respect to things that has nothing to do with improvement of their standard in life. They want to belong and see themselves as a powerful individual who can do and undo in terms of
just ego and pride.
Exactly. So even before when I was growing up, those I believe that are in court are mostly old people, and who are even at the university level. Some of them tiny people. Some people. Most time, people who have already out of university are the ones that are always in this society or the other, and they don't do it the way they are doing it now, killing themselves or beating themselves up. They use it to influence certain things for themselves. But today we have a different thing, and it is a sad situation, and it's a call for all the parents and to be more responsible in terms of training their children. Otherwise, the way we are, and you see, the unfortunate thing is this: most parents these days they give so much too much pampering of their children, and when you pamper your own children, and you fail to train your children very well, you fail to train very well, may consequently affect other children. And this is what will happen now. If that has happened by this investigation is still on. We cannot ascertain that these are the actual people that did it or whatever. But from the feel from the information we are getting so far, if actually is the truth that those children or the school children were the one who inflicted the injury on him or whatever,
okay,
it will be sad to hear that.
Okay, let me bring Nee into this. Obaniyi, I believe you're there now. The issue of monitoring and keeping an eye on students in boarding schools or in their dormitories, this has brought that reality to life right now. What do you make of what a lot of people call negligence? Because from the feelers we're getting, some of the schoolmasters and all of that are being arrested, it stems from the issue of negligence, where they're supposed to keep an eye, where they didn't keep an eye. And this happened within the school premises. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, Dr. Mike, thank you for this opportunity, and let me welcome back my brother from PDP convention. I'm hopeful that the party, Supreme Court will not truncate the party tomorrow. To the issue that you quickly raised, one thing I would like to put in perspective is that as a society, it's a societal failure. If you put it the way it is not a function of whether it is the parent, the school. What is the value system of society now? The so-called house masters, the so-called house mistress, the parents, what are the value system? What do we cherish? Everybody wants to run out in the morning, go and make good money, ensure that they are able to amass as much as they can amass, keep money for those children that are not properly brought up. The same thing goes for the house master. The same thing goes for the proprietors and proprietors of schools. The vice principal wants to stay in good books of the rich in society. So if you look at this issue generally, it is as much as we want to blame the parent, we want to say it's a total breakdown of the entire society value. We no longer cherish what we used to do. I remember those days. As parents, when you go visit your children in boarding schools, there are things you look out for. There are things you do, there are things you don't do. There are certain luxuries students or pupils are not allowed to have. There are certain things that the house masters will never indulge the young ones. But what we have generally now, what are the priorities for the parent? When parent goes to school, what kind of treatment do they want to be meted to their wards? What kind of house masters do we have? In those days, most of all the schools, you have qualified and certified guidance and counselors who try to ensure that they guide your path to what you do. Bullying or what have you is not something that is starting today. But what you find out now is that we are becoming more and more reckless as a society, that we no longer prioritize what are the value systems. Somebody said jocularly on the one of social media yesterday, he said the generation of parents that have arranged jam centers, arranged WAEC centers, arranged NECO centers are now giving back to generation of students that are beating their teachers, that are beating their colleagues to the point of death. You could imagine if 11-year-old, 10-year-old are now forming cult group in schools. It tells you how much we have degenerated. Those days when they give you sweets in my primary school, my mom would tell me that don't take it to, because you are not sure whether that person is a witch or a wizard, so you don't turn to meeting at night. But what we find out today, what are the things that we use to pamper our kids to make that their value system for them? Is either when you go to school with luxuries, you don't allow them to know what true life is all about. You want your children to be in the society of who and who is the society, at the detriment of their morals, of the value system. And as much as we want to put this at the step of parents, we need to look at ourselves all in the eyes of society. When a child is not doing what is right, what do I do to such child? How do I encourage such child? How do I address the parents of such child? And as much as even the society is not doing, is it that just let's overlook it? It is normal. It is a new thing. It is what is in vogue. As much as we continue to entertain or condone this trend, we'll continue to have this kind of society that we find ourselves. It's so unfortunate that a life has to be lost. But let me tell you sincerely, if we dig deep around the country, the case of Sylvester is just one of many that Nigerian system or our value system, our cultural system has failed. And this is a boy with potentials that was wasted for no reason. And you could imagine there is a story that after this happened, he was taken to church. You ask yourself, if a school is earning as much as 3 million, is it too much to find out what is happening to you? Is it too much to get the proper sick bay to treat this boy, to ensure what is wrong with him? So it's a total failure of our value system, of our cultural system, as a country, as individuals. And as you go back to those Paleolithic states, those Stone Age, where our parents ensure that they don't only sponsor you to school, they monitor your growth. People go out of the country to study, but they don't come back to be hooligans. They don't come back to be cult members. They don't come back to forget their values, their culture. What are the things that are very proper? Until we do that, we'll continue to get you can imagine the generation of the kids that beat up Sylvester. What will they give back to? What will be the norms when they grow up? Until we address all these issues, we're just scratching the issue by itself.
All right. Now, Tunji, some people have said, because we've had lots of comments and Nigerians reacting to this, and they have consistently said that it is a reflection of negligence or failure or lack of or inadequacy from parenting. What do you make of this regard? Because sometimes the others are saying that you could have good parenting, but there are times where children, some children have a life of their own. You could be trained well, but they just choose to decide to do whatever they want to do at whatever time.
You see, it's right when you talk about societal influence and other problem in the society. It's one of the reasons. And I want to also agree with those that say talk about parental neglect and failure, because I won't blame the parents sometimes too, because you are in a country where we're in a society where people have to look for, everybody have to be on their move to maintain or to survive as it is. And then unlike when I was growing up, we live in a communal system whereby there's no, I never live in a fence house. And in fact, most times I don't even sleep in my house, and my fathers are comfortable. They know where I am. I have been disciplined by somebody who I don't even know in my house, and my parents handed me over to him, discipline him if he has done that. But these days, even if when your child is wrong, and even in school they want to discipline the children, some people will call and say, "Why will you discipline him? Did I pay you to discipline him?" It's not right. All those kind of things. I'm not saying they should be beaten or necessarily whatever, but there are some kind of discipline that I've seen a school whereby they ask a student to raise up his hand, and the parent came and start making noise. That why would they ask the student to two of them? Why would they ask them to raise up their hands? That they are embarrassing them in front of their colleagues. And he was ranting before the student and the so what do you expect of that kind of a child or children if anything happens in that? So the way we handle our children these days, we overpamper them, and we make them, we don't want them to even go through anything at all. So I'm not saying the society as it is not encouraging parents to also stay at home and do the way we grew up, but at least to an extent, we can still maintain our standard and decorum within the time.
Okay. Well, a lot of people have said that the times are changing, the trends are changing, and we all have to live with it.
And the foreign influence as well. This in other words, you say we are old school, and then this new school system of a thing.
So is it old school, new school?
No, the new system of a thing is also causing problem.
All right.
They want to follow what they're doing abroad.
Yeah, but the point there is they need to be able to balance it, wisdom and intelligence, because the generation now are more in like they have everything on their phones, they're exposed to all sorts of things, but the ability to decipher and balance between who we are originally and what we should learn, I believe there's still some clash there. We have to leave you here now. Tunji Abdulhammed, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Obaniyi Akinwale, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank you, my brother.